everybody. Welcome to podcast episode 60. As you can see, we're in the newly built asset-based studio. Just before we hop into today's show, we got to get through the EF routing top hauls of the week. Coming in at number one on dry van, it's going to be a Cali to Utah, 620 miles between 2.6 and almost $3 a mile. Number two on dry van is Chicago, Illinois, over to Maryland, around 640 on the miles, reaching 3 at the top end on the RPM. Number one for reefer is going to be at Columbus, Ohio, over to Virginia, 360 miles, and anywhere between 4.1 to almost $6 a mile on the reefer end. Number two for reefer, Green Bay, Wisconsin, over to Findlay, Ohio, 460 miles, 4.2 to again almost $6 on the top end. Some crazy reefer freight. Maybe some Christmas desserts or dinners or something like that. Number one on flatbed, we got a Columbus, Ohio to Allentown, 430 on the miles, anywhere between 3.5 to 5.2 on the top end. Wrapping it up with a Findlay, Ohio to Philadelphia, 530 on the miles, between $3, 3.5 on the top end. Flatbed's doing pretty decent for winter season. Best loop for a dry van starting out in Wyoming, over to New York, over to Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, back to Chicago, and ending up back in Wyoming. On a 7 to 8 day, so longer than an average work week, making it between 8.8 to almost 10 grand on the dry van side. Best loop for a reefer going to be a Texas to Texas, over to PA, then to New York, back to Texas. Normal work week ending up between 9.8 and 10.4 on the top end. So reefer's doing great right now. A lot of food moving around. And best loop for flatbed, we got an Indiana to Illinois, over to Houston, Lafayette, Akron, back to Lafayette, and ending up in Warsaw, between 7.8 and almost 10 grand on the flatbed side. Without further ado, let's hop into today's show. As you guys can see, we're in a newly built podcast studio. It's purpose-built for this podcast. I just want to say thank you to everybody that watches the show, everybody that's been on the show, everybody that's supported the show behind the scenes. And I mean, sitting in this room, in this, built studio, it's a full circle moment. I mean, this is the decision I made to go from a hobby and something I was doing sort of, for fun and a passion project into creating a business. And, we see this podcast going further than being a podcast, turning into a media company with some IRL stuff. I mean, it's just a dream come true to see the podcast go from me sitting in a bedroom in a small house in Serbia to, having a studio now built for this. But as we wrap up 2024, I want to go over some of the things that have, stuck out to me. And I want to start it off with giving my respect to Ben Ham, bringing me on board PGT Northside, formerly Hammer Logistics, bringing me into the brokerage side of things. And just can't say enough good things about Ben and the team that we've built and the team he already had when I stepped on here, showing me brokerage the right way, letting me bring my talent and the skill set that I possess to build my own team, and giving me pretty much all the support and all the knowledge to be able to be on the brokerage side of things. It's been a really fun journey, and I look forward to seeing how 2025 goes. Stepping number two is going to be Carrier Defender, seeing that launch from all the behind the scenes work and pilot programs and all the stuff we did, and launching CDL and getting our first customers and, just helping carriers out. That was another passion project of mine. Coming from the carrier side of things, being able to work with carriers again and being able to help them and, get them back on the road, get their reviews cleaned up. And, just showing brokers that you can't abuse your power. If you're going to make a report, it's got to be factual. And being able to have the chance to work with Sean and, Dan Artave, and seeing them go over to the broker carrier summit, seeing the company, be a company, launch and start bringing in customers and start being able to help people. That's just been an awesome journey. And, a big shout out to Sean Matthews. A lot of people, if you've been on this show, there's a good chance Sean might have booked you for it. And, he's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of networking, just a lot of help, with the show. I mean, he launched our Gmails. I can't say enough good things about Sean. I mean, that guy works harder than a lot of people. And, he's been a crucial role in growing this podcast and growing Carrier Defender and just bringing a lot of really cool people, across my desk. And, it's a big thank you to him. And as we get into this podcast, like I said, our 2025 roadmap, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, and show off, the studio that finally got finished after, days and days of trying to get it ready, and not knowing if I was even going to have it ready for today's show, but I did. So the 2025 roadmap, to me, where I see this podcast going, is beyond me sitting in this chair. It's beyond me sitting in this studio. What I look forward to in 2025 is I finally tracked down the videographer and the editor. And I mean, that's been, I think, over a year I've been looking for the right person with the right talent and the right mindset to be able to be the editor and videographer for the show. And now that we've been able to find the person, and I mean, the studio is living proof that he set up the studio, he set up the camera angles, he set up everything. That's going to let us venture out into real world content, which is, been the goal that's been in the back of my head since I started all of this, is to be able to go out to these companies, be able to go out to truck stops, be able to go out, in the real world and make videos and show people the side of logistics, especially the side of outsourced logistics that they might not get to see any other way. And like I said, my biggest goal for 2025 is taking the podcast beyond this chair and out into the real world. So I'm looking really forward to that. On that topic, between January 12th and January 16th, we're going to have a lot of filming to do. We're going to have, Jamie Jaime's coming over. We have Hector coming over. And we're going to be making a lot of real world content, visiting a lot of companies, and going to show them the side of Serbia that I fell in love with. Just before we keep going through the roadmap of the podcast, I mean, just sitting here in this chair and seeing, all the hard work that's gone into this, seeing this go from, a 720p webcam that I bought for maybe $60, turning into something where the equipment around me is, exponentially more, and the quality is exponentially higher, and the dedicated space for it. And it's just a really crazy ride for me. So, I mean, not everybody probably knows this, and this will be my time to finally, explain it to people. I mean, I was born and raised in Canada. I was born and raised in Toronto, and I'm not sure, if anybody knows that. A lot of people seem to think because I live in Serbia, I was born here, but I mean, you could just tell by the fact that I speak, English the way that I do, that I probably wasn't born here, and I wasn't. So I was born in Canada. And, during the lockdown phase of everything, I came over here with my grandparents, who were born and raised here, on a vacation just for a month. I was like, hey, I'm not really doing much. Let me go see what Europe's doing. Let me see where, my family's from, and spend some time with them. My grandparents retired. They're much older. So I figured, hey, I'll come out here for a month. And we're going into year 5 now of me being here. We're going into my 5th year in trucking. And, it's just been a wild ride, like just going from being a plumber, a drain layer, into logistics, and starting out in dispatch, and going from, just another dispatcher into a dispatch manager, into working with smaller carriers, into learning what goes behind running a trucking company, from the top down to the bottom, to the accounting, to the ELD, to repairs, claims, just all of the stuff that goes into being a carrier. And, I thank everybody along that ride that gave me a chance. And, it's been nothing but hard work. And I say that to everybody. There's no magic pill. There's no gurus. There's no LinkedIn post that's going to change everything. I mean, it's just going above and beyond. It's about applying yourself. And I really love logistics. I got in here and I just wanted to ask questions. I just wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to learn how it all works. And I obviously had a skewed vision of this industry when I was a carrier, when I was a dispatcher, because, I had a narrow focus. I was on the carrier side. That was the only side I really cared about. I never zoomed out and saw, like, what is this industry as a whole? What is it like to be a broker? What is it like to be a shipper? What is it like to be the driver? And as I got to advance through my career, I got a chance to get into podcasting, and podcasting really gave me a chance to sit down with people, on the shipping side, the drivers, the brokers, the brokerage owners, the company owners. And it gave me a chance to sit down with some really, really cool people and learn a lot. And to me, the podcast initially was just something fun to do on the side, and a way to advance my knowledge, and a way to advance my abilities in this industry. And, as it's been going and going and growing, it's, I say it time and time again, it's like a little snowball that I pushed off a cliff, and that little snowball just kept collecting stuff and collecting people and other stuff. And one thing led to another, and we're sitting in a podcast studio. And, I just want to say thank you to everybody that watches it, that's been on the show, that supports the show, to our sponsors, Click Logistics, to EF Routing, to Manifold, to past and present sponsors of the show that believed in it. And like I said, going into 2025, my big focus is going to be on real life content. My big focus is going to be on having the editor coming on board, which we've already made happen, and watching the quality of the editing and the quality of the filming, just reach heights that we never could have done without it. As I sit here, I look back on it like, this is me going all in. This is my investment into this, and turning this from a podcast into a media company, turning it into a business. And, that's kind of my goal for 2025, is to watch this become a real company, to watch it turn into a media company, to watch the people we meet and the lives we come across, and just giving everybody, a chance to see the side of trucking that I've seen, the outsourced side of things, and, all the good. And I'm sure we'll see some of the bad along the way, but Serbia's done a lot. It's given me a chance to be in some really cool rooms with some really cool people, and come across a lot of really cool companies. And like I said, in 2025, podcast's biggest goal is going to be to go into real life content, to dive more into topic based podcasts, where it's not just personality building, where it's not just getting to know somebody. I want to dive into more topic oriented podcasts where, for example, what's the newest topic on the sonar stuff, and what's going on with the DAT stuff and the contract stuff. And I'd like to get more guests on and some more drivers on and talk about, the truck parking things and just all the stuff in our community that's been going on. And, sort of step into current events a little bit more, where I've sort of stayed away from it. I'd like to kind of be a part of it, because I've seen the content that's out there. And I think it would just be cool to put myself in those positions. Also, going through 2025, we're going to put a lot of focus on the company tours, on meeting the people that run the companies. And we're going to be taking that all through Europe. It's not going to be just Serbia. We're going to end up going to Macedonia, end up going to Poland, Bosnia, all of these places. And, so if you end up seeing this, if you end up, thinking you want to be a part of it, just reach out, shoot us a DM. Like I said, we have the film guy, we have the editor on board. We're going to be mobile. We're going to be going all through Europe come 2025, filming a bunch of content. And like I said, just meeting a bunch of cool people. My idea for this show was basically just to wrap up 2024 and just say thank you to everybody. When I started this podcast on my own, I wasn't really sure how was it going to go. But the best thing I could have done was start the podcast on my own, because I don't have any issues to do anything that I want. I can take the direction anywhere I want. I can speak how I want. And, I have the full freedom to make the show how I want to do it. And, it's scary at the start to anybody who's thinking of getting into podcasting, or, like we've seen Lita just hopped into it. My best advice to you is to just start, because you're going to psych yourself out. You're going to say, oh, I won't be consistent, or I won't this, or the quality won't be great, or who's going to do the editing, or all of these things are going to be questions you're going to have. But the best advice I'll give to you is just start doing it. You'll see from episode 1 of my podcast to today, the quality has jumped massively. And, we've learned along the way. I used to do all the editing. This was a one-man operation. I did all the editing, all the filming, everything. And you're going to learn as you go. And the best advice that, Nate Johnson gave us on a podcast or two ago was to just be yourself. Because if you're going to start a podcast for any other reason than you enjoy doing it, you're probably not going to succeed doing it. Because this has to be something you enjoy doing, something you do because you want to be doing it, not because you want to get sponsors, not because you want to get clout, not because of this or because of that. It has to be something you enjoy doing. And another thing I'll tell you is podcasting is going to be a much bigger time commitment and resource commitment than you'll ever assume it would be. because most people just see the finished product. And I think Timothy Dooner said it best. The easiest part of running a podcast is clicking record and being here filming it. The hard part is behind the scenes. The hard part is the scheduling and the fall offs, and getting the sponsors in order and getting things how they need to be on the business end of things. I think the easiest part of podcasting is clicking record. I mean, just sitting here talking to the camera, this isn't the hard part of podcasting, that's for sure. And again, I'll circle back to a big shout out to Sean Matthews. He handles a lot of our scheduling. He handles a lot of our outreach, a lot of our intake. And, it's a guy that doesn't get enough credit for how hard he works on this show. And I think he's kind of purposely done it that way. And I think that without him, the show wouldn't be the way that it is. So I would just love to give him, a big thank you for everything he's done. And like I said, we ended up starting another company together, Carrier Defender. He's been like an absolute massive piece of that. Dan Artave, our lawyer. It's just a lot of thank yous coming from 2024. I mean, if you look at my career resume, the podcast started this year. I started in brokerage with Benham, PGT Northside this year. We started everything this year. All three of the things I'm involved with were started in 2024. It's been a busy year. It's been a learning year. It's been a lot of effort that's gone into it. And I'm really happy to see where 2025 leads, where things are sort of established and they're sort of kind of doing their own thing. And it's a lot less starting from the bottom and a lot more reaching for the top. And I like that this podcast has given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people. That's been, obviously very helpful going forward in other endeavors and other things. But I'd just like to say that this podcast to me means a lot, and I'm going to be putting a lot more effort into it than I have been. It's sort of been, the least effort project that I've had on my plate. But the podcast is now going to be something that I'm putting a lot more time and effort into. As I said, my biggest holdup was finding the editor and videographer. I needed to make sure I found the right person. I needed to make sure it's a person that we can go traveling all through, the world with. I needed to make sure it was a person that was local to me, that I could, be with and film in real life with. And now that we found the video guy and the editor, the sky's the limit. I want to end up doing a lot of stuff. I want to go do truck stop interviews here. We're going to have, Sean doing some American stuff, truck stop interviews there. And we're going to just be absolutely all in on real life content come 2025. I mean, there's not much else I can really say to everybody, but just thank you for being a part of the journey. Thank you for supporting it. And, it's become sort of an addiction to me to post a clip every single day from the podcast on the company page. Whenever I take a day off, I sort of feel bad about it. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Music, Spotify. And it's sort of been an addiction to me to wake up, have my coffee, edit my video for the day, post my video everywhere. And I've just really enjoyed the feedback we've got. We went from 1 follower to 2.2 thousand followers in, half a year, maybe 7 months. That's something that I'm really proud of. That's something that I think is a good indication that people are watching it and that people believe in the content that we're making. And I would just love to see where 2025 takes us with, the upgraded studio, with the editor coming on board, with the Europe tours happening, and obviously trying to get myself to America. I got to get over there and make some content over there with you guys. But like I said, Europe and Serbia have been my home for the past 4 years. I'm really thankful for the people I've met over here in the trucking community in this country. And just really happy to be a part of all of this stuff, And thank you, Lita. Thank you for wishing me good luck and, for watching and being a part of all of this. And like I said, as we sit here in this studio that we've built over the past few days, this investment into this podcast is something that I don't take lightly. And this is my sort of, realization that this is going to turn into something more than just me sitting in a room with a webcam in my face. I mean, as I look in front of me, I have a monitor, a ring light, a webcam, a big camera. I mean, this is the moment where everything kind of changes and we go from a little side project full into something that I think, I truly do believe in. And I truly do think that making real life content is something that I want to do, for a long time. I had a great chance to film some stuff with Frey Caviar back in May. Hopefully that documentary will drop pretty soon. But it's just something, logistics is something that I love. It's something I want to be around for the rest of my life. And truck drivers and trucking companies and brokerages and just seeing all the talent that's out there and seeing all the different ways that a box or a piece of food or a piece of meat or a couch can go around the world. And getting a chance to sit down with a European broker too. I mean, I'm really good friends with a guy, Nikola Jevtic. He works out of Serbia in the EU market, and seeing how brokerage works throughout Europe and just seeing all these different moving pieces come together into something and being a part of it has been really cool. So like I said, I'm going to keep this one short. It's a Friday. I want everybody to go enjoy their weekends. Just wanted to show everybody the new studio. We look forward to making a bunch of real life content in here, real life podcasts. We look forward to our guests. We look forward to upgrading our graphics. We look forward to just keep pushing with this show. And, this is not the finished product. We still need, a sign over here and a sign over there. And this isn't good enough, and perfection eludes me, but it will never escape me. I'll chase perfection down until I get it. And we all know it doesn't really exist. So it'll be a lifelong journey of chasing perfection. But just to wrap it up, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been in my life in 2024. A big thank you to LinkedIn for being the platform it is and the community that it is. And, I'm really optimistic for 2025, and I hope to bring everyone a lot of real life content. So that's it for me for today. And I look forward to what 2025 brings. Thank you.